Hey guys, we are now at 9 subscribers, so all that support is really appreciated. I guess 3 videos in, 9 subscribers, that's like three per video. Keep up at this rate, could be PewDiePie in like a couple million years. Pretty cool. So I finally got out to see Glass this weekend, which, I was really excited to do that. I'm going to talk about it in a second. So Glass is a sequel to Unbreakable and Split. It was made this year, 2019. It stars Bruce Willis as David Dunn, Samuel L. Jackson as Mr. Glass, and James McAvoy as Kevin Crumb. And this has like a really low score on Rotten Tomatoes. Like this movie has like a 35%. It's pretty bad. That's like less than 2 stars. Like people seem, or I guess critics seem to really hate this. The audience scores out to a lot higher. And so there's another M. Night Shyamalan movie. I know that's like all I talk about, or all I've talked about so far on this channel. I'll get into some other stuff soon. I just thought with like Glass going out, this would be a good way to boost the channel. And so this movie starts, and we see David Dunn from Unbreakable, and he's been like fighting crimes and taking out bad guys, and the police are after him because they don't really agree with what he's doing. Like they think that he's kind of hurting people without any like trial or anything like that. So they kind of see him as a bit of a threat. And so we also learn that Kevin and like his personalities, they're still out there on the loose. They haven't been like arrested or anything like that yet. And one of the personalities, I think Dennis is the one that that likes to capture like teenage girls. Has captured 4 cheerleaders, and he's keeping them in some factory. Um, so when David like hears about this, he goes to investigate, and so he goes to the area that is where his son thinks like the culprit is. He doesn't. They don't know that it's like the horde yet. And actually, speaking of his son, they got the same actor as like in Unbreakable from like 19 years ago, which I thought that was a good acting choice. I like that they kept it consistent like that, and didn't just go with some guy that looks kind of like the kid. So I like that better. And the son is like he still like idolizes his dad and is helping him fight crimes and stuff. And so he actually like was able to map out like an area where he thinks the culprit is. And so he doesn't really want his dad to take a walk, but like his dad takes one anyway. And that's when M. Night Shyamalan makes his cameo, and it's actually like the same guy in the same 3 movies. Like it's but like his cameos are all connected as well as like the movies were. I like that. And so David goes to the area, and he runs into Kevin, and when he bumps into him, he sees that it was him that like captured the cheerleaders. And so David goes to the factory, and he frees the girls, and this fight scene with Kevin, and it was pretty good. There's not a lot of like fight scenes in this movie. There's not really a lot of fight scenes in the whole trilogy. Um, but I liked this. Like I thought there was some good action between David and like Kevin, like seeing them like throw the table back and forth and all that. And so after the fight, they're taken to like the mental hospital, and we finally get to see our villain of Unbreakable, Mr. Glass. And he doesn't really do anything for the first like 45 minutes, like hour of this movie. He's like sedated. He doesn't do a thing. He's just sitting there like in his wheelchair, because they have him sedated. And I think the first time we see him do anything actually is when he kills the worker with glass shard. That's later in the movie. Um, and so we learn that the doctor wants to convince them that they're not actually heroes, but they actually like think they are, but they're not actually. Like they just believe they have these powers, but they don't actually have these powers. And I thought that was like an interesting direction to take it. And in like all their rooms, they had all the weaknesses of characters. Like I don't think they mentioned this in Split, but light hurts or light changes the personality of Kevin, or like which personality is, and they have like a bunch of water in David Dunn's room. And so I thought like when they got to the hospital, the movie slowed down a lot, which is why everyone's been saying like it's a slow movie. I've seen that like online when they're talking about that. And so it slows down a bit. And Bruce Willis or like David Dunn, like his character leaves, just kind of leaves the movie pretty much. Like he's just sidelined for like half an hour. And so like it's pretty slow like this for like half an hour. And like when once Mr. Glass kills the guy with the shard, like things pick up again. And that's what like brought us to the climax, which I'll get into later. Um Also during this time we're like we see Casey from Split again, and she's in school, and they're like, "Oh, we locked up the guy. I know that must have been traumatizing for you," but she still wants to see him. I didn't really get that. Like, I don't know why she'd want to see him. Maybe she like had grown attached or something. And she tries to talk some sense into Kevin, and this is part of like what leads to the climax of the movie. And then a little bit after that, that's when Mr. Glass killed the guy with like the glass shard. And when that happened, my jaw like just dropped. I don't know if other people were like expecting that, but I did not. My like I was like, like I was not ready for that. And then that's when he starts getting into like his like mastermind plan. And I think the day before he stole a piece of the surgery device he was supposed to get, and he's been searching his pills with ones that won't really affect him, and he gets the horror on his team. So they never really talk what the surgery was about. I assume since they wanted to weaken the characters, they know that like his strength is in his mind. So they were probably gonna like do some surgery to make him not as like brilliant as he really is. And this is where they start getting into like the really like comic booky stuff. And I like this stuff, but I think this is where it started to lose most people because like and why the score might have been so low with talking about all these like aspects of comics books, like what the villain would do and like different team ups and like, oh, this is where the eyes would get big and like the question mark over the head. And like they do that different stuff and I like that stuff, but like they may have lost some people there. And like at this point, Mr. Glass is just taking over pretty much everything. And he gets the whore on his side, and he kind of manipulates David into escaping, and this all leads to our big climax. And this climax was insane. All the like fighting and the authorities and a bunch of stuff is just going on, and so the horde starts hurting people, and David fights him like head on. And so then there was this big reveal, which I thought was really genius, how it all like really tied together. Like they had Mr. Glass kill Kevin's dad, which is kind of the causes of his disability. Like the loss of his dad is what like put started to put Kevin into the state. And then he finds out like that he that Mr. Glass essentially killed him. And I really liked this writing because even though like he like and so he finds this out and like starts like not messing with but like really hurting Mr. Glass and like injuring him bad because his bones break so easily. And even though Mr. Glass is dying, he's like loving it because this is like how it's supposed to go. Like, oh, the the villain becomes the hero and like all that, and like it shows how like insane and like psychotic he is, and I really liked it. But then and then the horde is also out for David. So he ends up getting him into the water, and David's like really weak. And so the I guess quote unquote authorities drown David Dunn and kill Kevin, and I was like everyone's dead. I was really sad when these characters died. No one like I haven't really seen people be like, oh, I was really sad to see the loss of these guys, but like I'd really gotten attached to these heroes and villains, and seeing them all die in like the course of a few minutes, that really hit. Also, the way they died, like the two essential villains got to die like in peace, like knowing, like feeling fulfilled, and David dies in suffering. Like with Kevin, he finally accepts he can be himself when he's talking all about like how he's in like light and he kind of likes in the light and he dies happy. It's a total full arc and McAvoy just totally nails his performance. And on the other side of like the battlefield, if you want to call it, Mr. Glass learns that all his theories and ideas about these superheroes were right, and he dies knowing that he wasn't a mistake. And it was like wow, like a full arc for him too. But then so David, and this is where I didn't really like the ending. Like he kind of died. He kind of dies like a wimp. But like I didn't hate it. But other people seem to like hate the ending of this movie. Um, and like before David dies, the doctor is like, "Oh, take my hand." We find out that she's part of like the secret organization, kind of like Hydra. that wants to keep heroes a secret and keep balance in the world and all that. And so we find out that Mr. Glass released the tapes of what went on in the hospital. And I thought this was a bit of a lame payoff. Like, they released the tapes and show the world that like it's okay and he fulfills what he wanted, but like that was supposed to be a big deal, and it kind of it didn't hit very well. Plus, this probably ends the universe unless they like get into like the Clover group later. But if not, then everyone's kind of killed off. So it just kind of like okay, superhero universe there and then gone. So I actually thought the movie was pretty good. I seem to disagree with everyone. Like everyone seems to pretty much dislike this movie and feel like it was disappointing. But, we all have our opinions. I'd give this like a 6.5 out of 10. I hope you guys like this review and let me know what you thought in the comments. And press like and subscribe and keep watching movies.